Okay, hi guys. This is a quick video to refresh your thoughts and minds on salaries. Just to break it down a bit. I'm not showing you the answer in the actual task, but that is available on Teams. You're welcome to go there after you made sure 100% that you understand what I've explained here. First of all, there's a difference between a net salary and a gross salary. I think I might have asked this question many times before. Okay, so when you start with a section, make sure you know which is which. So the net salary is actually the cash that the guy takes home or the EFT that you transfer to him. And what does that mean? That will be his basic salary, which is gross. So let's just use the word gross salary, minus deductions. So if we decide, on his behalf, we're going to pay some pension fund, we will minus the pension fund, and that's the cash that he'll take home. The gross salary on the other side, we also call it his basic. If you want another word, that's his basic salary. That's the baseline we start with. And that will end up being his net salary, the cash that he takes home, plus some deductions. So that's just the opposite of what was going on here. If you look here, net salary plus deductions, gross salary is minus deductions. So that can make some sense somewhere wherever you are. And then the one that we don't really see in the textbook, but that does come up when you have your interview one day that you should ask, cost to company. What is the cost to company? That will be your basic salary, your gross salary, which is that one, plus some additional contributions from the company. So if you worked for Kero a few years ago, there was no contributions whatsoever. It was just a gross. A good company, a big company, now Kero started doing it, will pay on your behalf some more pension fund, some additional pension fund. Other than the part that you are paying, they will pay some additional. And that will be how much you are costing the company. Your basic plus some contributions. This, I always say, is additional and optional in a lot of instances. A lot of companies can't necessarily afford to do that for you. Okay, and looking at this specific adjustment, they have only, and it's simplified, they have only left out the SJ. So not only, they have left out the SJ. They haven't done it. What is the SJ? The Salaries Journal. You create liabilities. Okay, you don't pay it yet, you just create liabilities. They did mention the CPJ has not happened yet. What is a CPJ? That is where you issue the checks or you make the payments, and that has not happened yet. So we're going to focus on this bit for doing the adjustments. We're going to make liabilities. But before I start that, I just want to clarify the calculations to just make sure you know which amount goes with what. So if you look at the table that's there in your box, it's nice, it's a vertical one. Just quickly give you a glance at it. So there it is. It's a nice horizontal one, very well set out. Normally it doesn't look like that. They will just give you a few sentences and you need to make sure you know what's what. You've got your gross salary on the far left, the first amount, at 52,200. Okay? See my nice color cookies. Hopefully it's much easier to see than that boring black pen I used before. Okay, so that is the amount, basic salary, what we've decided to give the employee. But in agreement with him, on his behalf, we're going to pay some stuff for him. What do we call that? We're going to pay some deductions on his behalf. Now the first one is PAYE. That one is not optional. That we have to do. And that's your SARS, that's your tax. So there's 10,440 that we need to take out of the salary to be able to pay that on his behalf. Then there's also some medical aid that we are going to take out of his salary. We'll pay 2,400 for him across. And the same with pension fund. We are taking out 3,920. If you're following the table, I'm working from the left to the right. So if I work out the answer here, 35,440, what do I have? Yes, you've guessed it. It is actually your net salary. This is how much money the guy is going to, guys, I think there was more than one person here. Shame. This is not a lot of money that they're going to take home physically. So that is what they were awarded, and then we had to take this out. They're not losing that. We are paying that on their behalf across to the people that they owe money. So 35,440, when we go to the general ledger, that's the amount that we will be using. But on a side note, not forgetting about our additional contributions. Yeah, remember that. The additional contributions, if you read the last two columns there on the table, is some money regarding medical aid and pension fund that we are going to pay separately as well. So we're going to add it into the picture. 4,800 we're going to pay to the pension, medical aid on his behalf. And then we're also going to pay 5,480 for pension fund. So actually, I have to add those two if I want to know how much I owe the pension medical. I have to add those two if I want to know how much I owe the pension fund people. Okay, so that is that. Looking at the bigger picture, we'll come back to these amounts because we're going to be using them now in the general ledger. So let's break it down in the general ledger. Okay, sorry about the interruption. Coming back to the salaries. So I've shown you how the calculations are done and the split between net and gross. Now I'm going to the general ledger so that you can understand where in your financial statements these things must go. Balance sheet section is obviously going to go to your balance sheet, and your nominal section will end up in your income statement. For the balance sheet section, don't know if you can remember, I mentioned earlier that we're creating liabilities because of the SJ. So the first one, the creditors for salaries, is hopefully just going to exist for a few days. You're going to create it now on the right, and then hopefully as soon as possible you're going to pay bank, CPJ, and you're going to pay this amount. But if you read the adjustment for this exercise, we haven't paid these people yet, so this one will be floating as a liability. So just remember, all of these are liabilities. Double entry will be salaries. Salaries is your nominal section as an expense. And I always write the word net here so that I can remember. How I used to remember is this is balance sheet section, and N starts with an N. So it's in the wrong place. No, it's not. I don't know. Make some associations so that you can remember that net salary is the liability one. What else is liabilities? If you remember correctly, for SARS, we are paying for the employees an amount across on their behalf. There's already a balance sitting there, if you look carefully, of 800 Rand. Now we're going to add an additional 10,440, which is a deduction that's going to come out of their basic salary. And again, we mentioned the word salaries, double entry. I'm going to go to my medical aid fund. Medical aid fund, also liability. If you look at your information, there is a balance existing already of 860 Rand. And then we're going to add now, coming out of the person's salary, we're going to have 2,400 Rand additionally for medical aid fund. And then lastly, in the balance sheet, we're going to have our pension fund. Our pension fund also has a balance that's floating there already, money we owe them, 420. And now we're going to add some more that we are taking out of the people's salaries, 3920. So if I take these amounts that I've just entered for salaries as a double entry, the 35, the 10,400, 2439. If I were to add all of them in my calculator, guess how much do you get? What amount do you get? I can't hear anything. Why are you not talking to me? It's 52,200. Oh, I've seen that amount before. That is the gross. So this totals up to the gross, the whole amount that's going to the salaries. So you've got the nominal section sitting at the bottom, doing it in green deliberately. Why? Because this is going into my income statement. In nominal section, you'll start with your normal expense that you studied in grade 8 and 9 called salaries. And you're going to put it on the left. Just be careful, we're not writing bank here anymore like we did in the previous years. We are now writing sundry accounts. Why? Because the double entry is split into 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. So it's a lot of accounts. We're not going to list them all. We just say sundry account. 52,200. And then I always write here gross so that I remember I'm busy with the gross salary. But what's still missing here in the nominal section is your contributions. Remember I mentioned that we are additionally going to give some money to our employees. So we're going to add that. So the first one is the medical aid one. Medical aid fund, blah, 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 contribution. I'm not going to write it all out. You know how much I love words. And then for that, it was 4,800. I don't know if there was a balance here. I'm sure there was. Let me just quickly check for... Yes, there was a balance there. Sure, 41,000. Okay, so the 41,000 would have been on top here. A total, actually, not a balance. Anyway, that is not important right now. We're just going to look at the adjustments. The 4,800 double entry will be your medical aid fund. So you're going to put this amount there as well, 4,800, and you'll write the word medical aid fund contribution. Okay, so you've got three amounts there. You've got the balance that you owed them, then you've got this additional part coming from the guy's salaries, and then you are going to add this and pay this as an extra expense for yourself. I mean, for the company, not for yourself. Medical or pension fund, blah, 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 contribution. Look, I'm writing it out beautifully. I'm not being lazy like I'm doing everywhere else. This one also did have a balance initially of 60,480. Sorry, a total. And then what we're going to add in here is the 5,480. Oh, I just made it. Where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm going to write here pension fund. The top ones are totals. I'm just not adding that in. So for there, 5,480. Can you see? There's my credit. There's my debit. Same story here. Those are my double entries. So when you are doing this now in your financial statements, if you go to the top, this is in your balance sheet section under note number 9 for trade and other payables. So that one will stand on its own because obviously you've paid all the other salaries, so it's just the 35. But these ones, you're going to have to add up the balance and whatever you just added now. Because in total, that's how much money you owe the medical aid people, and that's how much money you owe the pension fund. So that's sitting in note number 9. And then lastly, these green ones here, they're all going into your income statement. Salaries, I'm sure there was an additional amount. Oh, 641,600 plus this. Okay, so your salaries is quite huge. And then medical contribution and pension fund, I did kind of squeeze it in there. Your totals plus this amount that you've just worked out. Okay, so that's it. I hope you can add it in. Like I said in the beginning, the answer is posted on Teams. Good night, guys. Time to go to bed. No, not yet. Time to rest.